Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers, sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to L3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the wild, wonderful Mountain State, and today's date is Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. Yeah, looks like we're on a flash flood watch at this time being until noon tomorrow. Looks like some of the low pressure that was considered Tropical Storm Fred supposed to be coming in this area. So we're just gotta be ready for it. This is how it goes. And of course, I was hearing all the rhetoric about Biden this, Biden that, what happened in Kabul, which, like I said before, he's just a fall guy. However, his contributions as a career politician put him in this predicament. I'll just clarify that just in case. And just other things is going on. It looks like Governor Abbott from Texas said he has COVID. He had COVID, and there's even claims he has taken the shots. Spike proteins, we can say. Yeah, it looks like many people I know too that taken a shot and got COVID as well. The synthetic virus, you would say, the Franken virus, which I am convinced. And now, of course, you got more institutions wants to take the shots to make us feel safe and go back to normal. Hooray, hooray. I will trust my government forever. Thank you, state. Without you, I couldn't live. The propaganda machine still going through people's minds, and trying to shove it down drilling their heads and down into our veins. I am a little bit being sarcastic, but it's just the confounded truth, folks. Man, when you gonna start learning to be vigilant on your health and taking something you don't even know about? Nuremberg codes. Right, but some people, these geniuses, social media geniuses say, oh, well, that's a conspiracy theory. You better do your research. Yeah, I've read the damn thing, and I did plenty of homework. So you know what? You shut your mouth, genius. Yeah, I just don't get mad, folks, but I get just be inspired. So, is this one of those days? Like I said, bizarre world. Man, my, oh my, oh my. And it gets a turn off. All these ads, think this, think that. Good Toxic album, by the way, concept album. I think it came out in 89, I think. Yeah, 89. So they were banned from the Mid-Hudson Valley area of New York. I believe it's Peekskill or Montrose, right in that area. So yeah, I remember hearing about them a long, long time ago. Yes. Ooh, man, time does fly, right? However, I'm just doing okay and kicking back. And I just do a couple articles pertaining to Joe Biden and dangerous conformity. So, I just take the initiative. I was looking at a few things. This one today came from the Vision Times, which is visiontimes.com. It says here, Vietnam veteran, Kabul worse than what happened in Saigon. This is what Arvind Dada has to say. America's desperate attempt to evacuate embassy staff from the Afghan capital of Kabul has been compared to the fall of Saigon in 1975. In Saigon, U.S. military troops hastily pulled out 7,000 citizens from the Vietnamese city. Larry Chambers was a skipper of the Midway aircraft carrier during the Saigon evacuation. The 92-year-old believes what is happening in Kabul is a lot worse than what took place in Saigon. And it says here, we try to get out as many people who worked with us as we could from Saigon. Did we do a good job? Who knows? I don't know what the Taliban is going to do, but whatever it is, it's not going to be pretty. We made a promise to those folks in Vietnam that we would rescue them, and we didn't. In Afghanistan, we are abandoning the folks who supported us while we were there, Chambers said in an interview with Military Times. Chambers said that one thing that makes the fall of Kabul worse than Saigon is the proximity to the ocean. Saigon is located 30 miles off the coast. Kabul is situated 800 miles from the Arabian Sea, which is too far for a small airplane or an overloaded helicopter. Kabul airport is also flanked by mountains. The Taliban can easily use these mountains to fire down at the airports and the airplanes. Kabul airport was temporarily shut down after Afghan nationals broke through the perimeters and forced security forces to fire in the air. U.S. military flights have resumed, but the situation continues to be tense on the ground. Foreign nations are also rushed in to evacuate their people. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier called the images of desperation at the airport shameful for the political West. Kimberly Motley, an international human rights attorney, was working to get Afghans out of the country. She called the situation of a human rights nightmare and compared it to America's Vietnam exit. This is like Saigon on steroids, she said. Mariam Solomon Kahil, a female lawmaker from Afghanistan, cried on her flight leaving Kabul, "The next time I come here, it will be a white Taliban flag. Today was one of the worst days of my life. We are leaving people we know behind in danger. It's terrifying," she told the Wall Street Journal. Elsie Stefanik, chair of the House Republican Conference, criticized President Joe Biden for the situation in Afghanistan. She said that Trump's Afghan policy was conditions-based and that Biden totally abandoned it, allowing the Taliban to break the agreement. This is Joe Biden's Saigon. Joe Biden is desperately attempting to pass the buck, but the buck always stops with the President of the United States. There is only one commander-in-chief. There is only one person who sits behind the Resolute desk. The responsibility for this failure rests solely with President Joe Biden, Stefanik said in a statement. The fall of Saigon happened 2 years after American forces had withdrawn from Vietnam. However, the fall of Kabul has taken place amidst the evacuation of American troops. President Biden might end up facing a bigger political impact than what President Gerald Ford faced back in 1975. I have a little doubt that it's going to hurt Biden. It's going to be viewed as a loss and possibly a disgrace. It really was his call, fairly or not. Christopher Phelps, an associate professor of American Studies at the University of Nottingham, told BBC. So, Avery is a recluse who prefers staying far away from the limelight as possible. Be that is as may, he keeps a close eye on what's happening and reports on it. Keep people rightly informed. Yep. So, and he's true. It's just a total cluster. Like I said before, he's the fall guy. But all his contributions as a political career put him in this predicament. And of course, I have to agree, he's the commander-in-chief. It's why Biden, his whole team needs to step down. That's how I look at it. Especially the Department of Defense and all these people. They all need to step down, including the hyena, Kamala Harris. And I get really disturbed when people believe he's going to be a great president. Welcome to reality, folks, to all you Biden supporters out there. I'm very damn proud I keep tabs on these individuals. I'm no expert myself, but I try to study the Constitution the best I can and look what they try to implement or exercise. And this man is a habitual tyrannical offender. That's Joe Biden for you. He is not my president. And I'm damn well proud of saying that. And I was very concerned about his health as well. Don't never wish this man ill will. But you gotta have an ass cleaning and get half-assed results. That's what comes down to it. And believe in signing all the executive orders supersede the legislation's obligations. No. It's null and void. As far as I'm concerned, he needs to stay in that cave. Or go back to Delaware where he belongs, inside some cell block. Be a hermit, as far as I'm concerned. It's just another disturbing example why I'm highly critical of this man. I say that in good faith. And a lot of good people have been shafted. It's a claim that even many Americans and contractors, military contractors that are Americans, are stuck over there. That's why his actions on foreign policy was lousy as a congressman, senator, and president, including vice president. Prove me wrong, folks, if you dare. Please. I would love to hear your defense on Joe Biden. All right, I'm going to do one more here. This one's very interesting. It's from the Waking Times. It says here, when your life is at stake by following the herd. Dylan Charles, who's the editor of this website, reads, most people have little to no conscious awareness of why they do things they do. Their behavior is on autopilot. 99% of the time, there is, as their subconscious mind steers from toward meeting its own needs. It doesn't matter to the subconscious if it's mistaken and the behavior is self-destructive or even dangerous, so long as it thinks it is fulfilling its basic drive to keep you safe amongst your tribe. We're hardwired for social conformity, even when doing so may present an immediate danger to our safety. This phenomenon is well known and is illustrated in a social experiment overseen by psychology professor Dominic Abrams, in which researchers attempt to answer the following question. Behaving differently from your group can make you an outcast, but what would you do if you knew your group was entirely wrong? Would you, for an example, sit in a burning room just because everyone else does? Dangerous conformity. In a hotel room rigged with hidden cameras and microphones, participants in the staged internet marketing event attempt to influence the survival instincts of another by pretending to ignore smoke and smoke alarms in a conference room with 8 people. In short, when a participant was alone in the room when the smoke appeared, their survival instincts kicked in and they left the dangerous situation quickly, even abandoning their possessions. When the participant was in the room with several other people pretending to ignore the smoke, the participant did nothing, staying in the room on an average of 13 minutes, long enough to have killed them in a real fire. I was looking for some sort of reaction from someone else, and even just the slightest little thing that they recognized that there was something going on here for me to kind of react on that and then do something about it. I kind of needed prodding as a participant. In 1979, a scenario like this played out in real life in a Woolworths department store in Manchester, England. About 500 people were in the building when the fire broke out, which ultimately killed 10 and sent 47 to the hospital. Investigators found that the majority of deaths occurred in the restaurant, where people simply did not evacuate, presumably because of the ingrained and group behavior of waiting to pay the check. Now, everybody's looking at the smoke, but in some ways that gives the group even more influence. After all, if everybody can see the smoke and no one's panicking, well, it'd be crazy of him to do it. Too. Psychology Professor Dominic Abrams. And there's a video on here too. You can see for yourself. It's good stuff. It's a good segment. One lesson here is that when people are alone, they tend to take responsibility for themselves. However, when a part of a group, a person tends to figure out which behavior is the most acceptable to the others, look at the acceptable scripted behavior, not embarrass themselves by taking the lead, and defer to the norm of the group even when the norm is dangerous. Another lesson is that our behavior isn't scripted by the conscious mind. Instead, behavior is mostly governed by the subconscious mind. And if we lack the self-awareness and knowledge of how we choose our behavior, the more likely it is what we will mimic those around us, parrot what everyone else is talking about, and go along with any just to get along, even at the risk of our own lives. Today we are witnessing a dangerous manifestation of this, heavily influenced by 24-hour news and social media culture. Masses of people are frozen in the face of overwhelming pressure to conform, foregoing consideration of their own health, wellness, and personal conviction, and refusing to object to ever greater control measures. Many of the ideas to approach our current situation don't make rational sense and will certainly create ever-growing dangers for ourselves. However, not wanting to suffer the embarrassment of taking action, so many fail to react to the greater dangers being presented and move toward conformity with the herd. The concept is twisted even further when you mix in the presence of authority, as demonstrated by Philip Zimbardo's Stanford prison experiment conducted in 1971. Zimbardo's experiment showed us just how quickly and easily people will conform to the roles of masters and subjects. I've seen a movie on that too. It was very disturbing, very intense and disturbing. In 1963, Stanley Milgram, also famous social psychology research, showed how as a uniform as Bengen as a lab, and a clipboard is enough to create a sense of authority amongst others, and that people will constantly physically harm others just because an authority figure instructed them to do so. This has disturbing echoes in today's world, where all of a sudden so many people feel compelled to demand what medicines another take, and some even support the idea of severely restricting the freedoms of those who do not conform. Interesting. You know, the COVID shots, the passports, the COVID certificates, COVID-19 cards they have. They want people to show it, violate your right for privacy, so they want you to conform like them. Something to think about, folks. You should let that sink in. Constantly scanning the environment for clues on how to best fit into its tribe. The aim of the subconscious mind is to be a non-threat to others and to adopt the average behavior of those around. This means an individual can be compelled to act against his or her own interests in the subconscious drive to seek security within its tribe. At the personal level, manifestations of subconsciously following dangerous herd behavior include all forms of self-sabotage and self-attack. Commonly, these take form as poor eating and spending habits, the deterioration of the physical body, dependence on a dangerous medical establishment for health, and deference of psychiatry for mental wellness. So many people are living as their lesser selves today, constantly pulled down by the average behavior of a sick and dysfunctional tribe. Most fulfilling lives are those self-directed by our own creativity and our own ambition, and though you may honestly desire to self-actualize into your most powerful self, unless You are aware of how your unconscious mind influences you and pits you against yourself for its own survival. You're going to have a hard time overcoming the incredible influence of nature. In my personal practice as a self-sabotage and self-mastery coach, I guide my clients through a process of reflection and self-discovery which reveals to them their most repressive life goals and dreams, show them which path will take them there, and clears out the past by identifying and neutralizing all of the self-sabotaging behavior, staying in their way. Find out more about that here. There's a link for that. Sign up to his personal newsletter. Follow him on Telegram. So you can look at all that. And it's true. It's amazing. And I watched that video about the fire thing and about the fire and all that. And you got, one person in there. She just took off immediately. If there's a group, they just stood there a little bit. And one person questioned it. And they stood there. They could have been dead if it was a real fire. Or suffocate dearly by smoke inhalation in their lungs. So this is one of those areas, folks, when one thing I always say about it's dangerous to be a her conformist. Even the Satanic Sins, okay, by Anton LaVey, he talks about this, okay, and I don't have to agree. You don't have to agree on his philosophy and so forth, but there are always some merits. Even the Bible talks about that too. All you gotta do is start looking, like do a little homework in these areas. All right, and don't be the ones that follow the herd, okay? Like he had 3 brothers refuse to bow down to the idol because they believe in the greater power, and they try to execute them and put them in the boiler, and they got saved. So it's just giving you those little stories, just something to look at. And I always try to have that mindset too, the best I can. Stay focused, be your own person, choose your own destiny, and achieve goals. Some are quick, some are long. This is how it is. It's part of humanity. But one thing I always tell people: don't be a yes person. Speak your mind. Do it honorably. Create dialogues. You're gonna expect people to disagree, which is cool. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Even the people I support, I don't have to agree with them in everything, but we have a great discussion. It is not to say I'm better than them and vice versa, but rather saying we all got great gifts. Here are my thoughts. Here are my skills. You can learn something from me. I can learn something from you. So always contemplate for yourselves the best you can. And don't get me wrong, we've all been swindled one way or the other. I can admit that too. We all have. But always want to better yourselves and share it to the people you love. All right, folks, that will be it. I thank everyone for listening. But feel free to download and share it throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, and send us this issue you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence to Decorum. Furthermore, I'll leave the footnotes of these articles on my speaker page. If you want to email me, you can go to LokiLuck03@protonmail.com. If you want to donate, you go to paypal.me or cash.app/LokiLuck3. If you want to support the Waking Times, and what's the other one? Yeah, Waking Times and, let's forget these. Vision Times. There's like 2 times there, right? Yeah, if they got donations, subscriptions, support them. It's good stuff. I always learn from these articles as well, and everything else I try to narrate with you guys, all right? Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.